Enjoy AJ's fresh food with dine-in, carry-out, and delivery options. Cheers to great food and better beer.
Head coach Matt Painter. Kyle, go ahead.
Matt, you've been talking a lot. You have fun with these guys. You want to recruit guys that are fun. How much fun was that? Fletcher gave you the ball and they drenched you there to celebrate 500.
Yeah.
How much fun with these guys?
Yeah, no, we have a great group of guys, and trying to go from one game to the other, I think is really hard after you have such an emotional big win on the road like we had. So to see these guys, come out and compete again and move to the next game. But yeah, our staff has done a good job of recruiting and getting guys that fit at Purdue, and it makes it enjoyable. There's no way around it. Winning is a lot of fun, but like how you get there, right? How you get there on the day to day, and so that's what they probably get tired of me saying, making your hard work fun. There's a lot of truth to it on both ends.
Going off of that, to get 500 wins, you have to coach a long time, but you also have to be successful consistently. The game's changed a lot in the time that you've been here and the time you've been in coaching. How have you adapted to different rules and obviously the different stipulations that are in place for recruiting now?
Yeah, I would say more is just trying to stay up with the game and keep learning. And just because you have success in a season, in one season, it doesn't mean you can have the same success the next year the same way. There's going to be some changes, but I'm not a big believer in changing for the sake of change. I think a lot of times guys, they look at it like you just, your play sheet gets stale to you. I think every coach that's watching this and listening understands, you get into February and you play conference, basketball, and you got about 12 to 14 games underneath your belt against people that understand you and know you, that's competed against you. It just gets a little bit stale. So you're always trying to search for different actions or different ways to go about it. But you got to mix things up. You got to be able to teach the pillars of the game a lot of different ways. But it's the same thing, the pillars of the game, like how you take care of the basketball, how you rebound the basketball, how you screen to get people open, how you manipulate a defense. You got to mix things up and be able to change it, because when you keep doing the same monotonous things over and over and over, it gets, it just gets it gets boring as a player. So you got to be able to reach them. And I think that's the one thing, reading, going to clinics, just keep trying to figure things out, and then organically kind of let things come to you. Don't always, when you don't know, competition normally sets rotations, competition sets how you're going to play, and then, it'll just gradually come to you. So that's all we've really tried to do through the years is, realize we don't know it all and learn from our mistakes and learn from competition and get better.
Matt, I don't know what landmark wins do for you, but on that list of 500, I think you're one of the very few, if the only one, to get the bulk of the wins at an alma mater. When you reflect on it at all, will that mean something to you?
I think in time it does. Right now we have a really good team, and I'm, trying to, take in this win, not really the number of the win, but just take in the win and wake up tomorrow and get ready for Memphis. I think that's where you kind of stand when you're involved in it. I would think it's a big deal if it wasn't me, but it is me, so I don't think it's a big deal. I'm yet to see, a really good coach with bad players. It's a player's game. Get the right players that fit together, get them on the bus, get them on time, tell them the truth, and then have a lot of fun with it. And so, we're not drafting them. A lot of people look at you why'd you do this, why'd you do that? We're not drafting people. We're recruiting them. They're going to say no to us at times. But how you navigate after people tell you no, that can really help or hurt your team. But sometimes you're up against it, especially with size. That's why we try to get out in front of a lot of things in recruiting, to really help us. But it's still a difficult task to put a team together at times. I think it's even more difficult in today's game. But just try to learn from it and not be stubborn and do what's best for Purdue.
Man, it was easy to see how Thursday's game was sort of an NCAA tournament kind of preparation talent game. How does tonight fit some of those same, veteran coach, talented scoring team? Did it check some of those same boxes?
Yes, without question. Athleticism, great coach, quickness, shot makers. They didn't have quite the size that we had. They're not playing in their venue. We're playing in our venue. So that's not, going to relate to an NCAA tournament team, but the quality of team there is really good. They have to be one of the top 3 or 4 mid-major teams in the country. Like they had us on the run there in the first half. But they're good. That's why we played Toledo last year. They're good. Todd's great. We're playing Kent State. Rob's great. And then obviously, John Gross is, one of the best coaches. And but yeah, it's similar. Like you kind of look who we're getting ready to play, who we just played in these last couple games. Like that's what you want. That's what you want. But you also got to understand you can get beat too. Like that's what you get beat in a game like this. People will say hey, shouldn't have scheduled them. Like I kind of look at it differently. You should schedule them, and you got to be able to take that loss and learn from it. But I thought our guys responded tonight. I thought they did some really good things, and we just have to keep getting better.
So you kind of took control there at the end of the first half. What did it say about your team's kind of professionalism and maturity and whatnot to come out the way they did in the second half? I don't think Akron got a rebound for 8 minutes.
It's 10 minutes. But no, those guys that was impressive to watch. Those 2 guys rebound in that stretch. To see TK and Oscar, we gave Oscar a couple blows right there quick and got him back in there. He was so productive. To get 14 rebounds in under 21 minutes, it's pretty impressive. I know TK got 15, but he had a little under 27. But no, they stayed with it. They were professional. They understood. I just didn't think, earlier we quite had that competitive fear. And you always got to have that competitive fear. People kind of look at that as a weakness. It's not a weakness. It's actually a sign of intelligence to be able to respect your opponent and know that they can come in here and beat you. These guys realized that we could get beat tonight, and that helps you. That doesn't hurt you.
Omer tonight looked like most comfortable he's looked so far in his short career here at Purdue. How important is it to have him in on those minutes without Braden, where there's no offensive drop-off without Braden on the floor?
Yeah, he's good. Omer's a big-time player. And, now just kind of, morphing into a different role that you're not used to. It's hard to come in and just be aggressive right away when you sub in. But, he's starting to pick that up. Like I thought that pass he made at the end right there, he's trying to be unselfish. He should take that shot. If they're going to give you a shot that you're going to make 60% of the time, take it. And I thought just across the board, you look, he scored, he passed, he did a lot of things for us. But to give us that relief and not hold our breath while Braden's out, is key. But I like them together. I think, you put those 2 guys together and you got guys like Fletch and TK, and you got the short roll, you got the lob threat, you got a moose like Oscar down there. That's a really, really good balance of guys right there. He really complements, our main dudes.
When you emphasize rebounding in the offseason to bring some pieces in, but did you envision performances like these last 2 games on the boards, and how do you, whether it's maintain or get better, how do you move it forward? Well,
TK said, TK averaged 6 rebounds last year, so he got about a rebound every 5 minutes, and he said he'd be a better rebounder, but he didn't have to wrestle with those big dudes that are 5s. So, and here we are, right? So, and he was right. Something you'd be amazed at how many times as a head coach you get lied to. Players will tell you, oh no, the ball hit me and this happened, and you'll go and argue to the ref, and you'll watch the film, and they're 100% wrong, right? So players will say, if this happens or whatever, but he said it and he's doing it. And so his ability to get on the offensive glass, but also get us defensive rebounds, it's huge. To have 2 guys like that, it's huge. Now we have to, have some consistency there across the board.
Hey, Matt, you have a veteran team, but you've got a couple new guys, Omer and Oscar, that are fitting in and playing significant roles. How does that translate to the team this year with those guys filling those roles on a really, basically a
Yeah.
veteran team.
Yeah, well, Oscar's getting his opportunities offensively off the glass more than anything. Like he'll get some post ups here and there, he'll get some dump downs, but he's been great. He's been great. He didn't get here till the end, and Omer didn't get here till the end of the summer also. So like they weren't practicing with our guys for 8 weeks in the summer. They got a couple weeks, and then they were here just doing individual workouts before school started. So it's taken a little bit of time to ramp up. And then like Omer played in multiple leagues last year, played for his country in multiple games. And so like his end of the season was the summer, to where our end of the season was the end of March. And so then we took our time off, and then when he came here, we're picking it up. So he needed some time off at that time also. But they've been great. They both really complimented and really done more than complimented. Like they've stepped up and played well in big games.
Are you getting a better average minute right now from Braden and Trey because they don't have to play every minute, because Trey doesn't worry about fouls, and because those two guys don't have to dominate every offensive possession?
Yeah, I hope so. Sometimes that's hard to quantify. But yeah, I think that you're getting more efficient play. You hope from just those guys being a little bit more fresh and being able to sub it in and out of the game. But we'll see. Like you saw in the second half of the Oakland game, like I didn't take Braden out. I just didn't think that made a whole lot of sense for the position that we were in. And I think we're gonna have games like that. I don't think there's we're not gonna just like go away from that, and we're gonna sub the same way the whole time, even though you can see a pattern. You like to get to a pattern of some degree so they get more comfortable. And sometimes it's in the past, I almost felt like I was trying to be more comfortable subconsciously. And it's about them and how they play and who's in the game at the same time. So there's a lot of things that go into it. Like you can just pull a variable out and say this is the reason, but there's a lot of variables that go into why somebody's efficient or why somebody's is ultimately successful at a certain time.
Do you have a status update on Liam? What happened to him?
He's getting an MRI tomorrow. I hurt his shoulder. Shoulder came out, so they put it back in place, and so they think it's good news in terms of it's not going to be a long time that he'll be out, but we'll see. We'll see what that MRI says. No, the other one. It's his right.
Thank you.